everybody, and welcome to the KCGN podcast, episode 8. How you doing, Daniel?
I'm doing all right. It's we're on episode 8.
Yes. It's been a pretty exciting week for both of us. We've been playing a lot of video games. You've been branching out. You've been playing stuff that is not MLG.
MLG. I mean MLB.
MLB, yes. That's what I meant.
I guess that could be under that. I don't know.
It could. Anyways, yeah, you've been playing stuff other than MLB. I've been playing a lot of Fallout New Vegas, actually, and I am deathly addicted to Fallout Shelter still. So much to the point where I think this episode might have to be called Jeff is Addicted to Fallout Shelter.
So much that you're playing it right now.
I very well could be. I may not even notice it because that's just how addicted I am to it. Like, I'll be playing it and not even notice it. So like, it's really scary. But I had this issue with Fallout New Vegas, which was also an issue for me in Fallout 3. It's actually the reason I stopped playing Fallout 3. It was the music in the game started skipping, and it would cause the game to kind of slow down, and eventually it would make it crash. So that's a problem, obviously, and not being able to listen to the music at a steady, pace without skipping and making some, cutting out and making some high-pitched squeak or whatever, that kind of ruined the experience for me. So I managed to finally fix that. Did a lot of modding and computer stuff that was really scary, and but I finally got it to work. I'm very happy about that. I finally get to re-immerse myself in the world of Fallout above the ground. That being in Fallout Shelter and in Fallout New Vegas. So I'm very excited about that. And what have you been playing this week?
Just just mostly Smash Brothers. The new
on
one.
Wii U or 3DS?
Mostly Wii U. With a friend. And I mean, I've played the game plenty already. It's just now I'm getting more into actually trying to figure out how to use the characters. Because usually I
feel like a lot
usually
of
I turn my brain off with these kind of games. Like it's just, but now I'm actually figuring out what moves would work. Like who's high tier, who's low tier.
There's a lot of confusing stuff with the way some of that works. Like I know with I heard that the whole and if any of our listeners are huge Smash Brothers fans who have all the frame data memorized, you'll have to forgive me if I make a mistake here, but I want to say there's a system in place where I think certain attacks have priority over other attacks, and that was in Brawl, and it's back in this one or something, and there's some really weird, convoluted stuff in this, and you kind of have to go to a wiki to kind of read all of the information about it, but I love Smash 4. I actually managed to pre-order the Classic 3-pack Amiibo set from GameStop, so I'm really happy about that.
Lucky you. Bastard.
That comes with Rob. Comes with Rob, Mr. Game & Watch, and Duck Hunt. So I'm very happy about that.
I'm glad you're happy.
I'm glad I'm happy too.
Asshole.
Thanks for sharing in this mutual feeling of happiness. But
I didn't have money.
I will say I have actually. I realized I have actually been playing Fallout Vault or Fallout Shelter this whole time, and my vault has 39 people in it, which is higher than another person I was talking to today who's also been playing it. So I have managed to stop myself from buying lunchboxes though, so I'm happy about that. I was able to curb that addiction fairly quickly.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, because you have a Windows phone.
Oh, I wouldn't play it anyway because
Like insert a little like sound effect of an audience going, "Oh."
I wouldn't. I could. I've got it. Still have the Android phone, but I don't play mobile, so.
Well, Fallout 4 is coming out later this year. We're both very excited about it. I've decided to start playing Fallout New Vegas. I was gifted all of the DLC for it recently, so I figured, I might as well re-immerse myself in the Fallout universe. And Fallout New Vegas actually has a lot of stuff from the original Fallout games. It's actually from the same group of people, I think, that made the original games, or a lot of the same developers, because I think that was Black Isle Studios, right? That did the first two games. And when they were shut down by Interplay, whenever Interplay kind of went belly up, a lot of those employees left and formed Obsidian Studios, and they did Fallout New Vegas. So it's kind of cool to see them kind of returning to the franchise in that way. There's a lot of fun stuff from previous entries, particularly the very early '90s entries, or late '90s rather. But we have some interesting topics this week. Most of them are from you. It's been kind of a slow week on my end, but you had some interesting articles you wanted to talk about.
Yeah. Let's see which one I should start off with. One of them was a girl who had a brain tumor, brain cancer, which she they found out 2 weeks before it would have been you were guaranteed to die.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a very scary moment.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But she used she would play Sonic the Hedgehog games, and that helped her cope with the cancer. And she also watched a cartoon and would look up to Sonic as a role model to, be strong like him, have a quick recovery. I mean, you probably could use many other characters or video games, but it's it just goes to show that video games can help you through tough times.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she called him his blue guardian angel. So it's
I think that's great. That's a heartwarming story. I feel like having from playing Sonic games, they're definitely something if you're kind of out of it, or if you're feeling down, there's really something you can go to, and they always make me feel better when I'm playing them. I think that's great.
Yeah, she went back and discovered the Genesis ones, and I grew up on those, so
yeah,
those are fun.
I feel like the music in those games as well is just something about the music in those games is just so perfect, especially 3.
I think especially 2. 2 I thought was
2 had some great music too.
Perfection to me. 3 was short, but that was split up because of Sonic and Knuckles, but I never really played those as a kid.
Yeah.
My mom rented Sonic and Knuckles, I think, and I couldn't get past the first level because I'd get stuck with the stupid, the vines that would,
I remember that, yeah.
And I couldn't figure it out. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize you had to, spin dash away, I think. And
that kind of, yeah. That seemed to be, that was an issue with me a lot when I was younger, when we had, for our younger listeners, we used to have what we called video rental stores inside of our grocery stores.
They still have those.
Do they still? They have red boxes now, but
I mean, there's stuff like Family Video.
Well, yeah, but I mean, inside of grocery stores, and
oh yeah,
but yeah, we'd go in there, we'd rent I'd always rent. I think it was Radar something for Game Boy, and then I also think I rented some of the Kirby games on occasion. Um, but yeah, it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good memories for me there. But a lot of games, you'd start playing them and you wouldn't really know what you're supposed to do because just the instructions are so vague.
Yeah, I think this was like the only time that I rented a Genesis game.
Hmm.
Because after that, I'd always look forward to going to Blockbuster to get
Oh
like
yeah.
N64 games, and then it was a GameCube, and then I just kind of stopped renting. I didn't.
I remember when Star Fox Assault came out, it was
Yeah,
actually it actually released exclusively as a Blockbuster rental
really.
at first, and then
That's strange.
about 2 or 3 weeks later, then it actually had its proper retail release.
Really, that's. Don't know how I feel about that. I don't.
That was really weird. Well, looking back on history, Star Fox Assault was not a very successful game.
It
So
was all right.
I mean, sales-wise, I loved it. I loved Star Fox Assault
I
to
didn't
death.
love it. I thought the ground stuff was boring, but
I remember liking it. Either way, um, we kind of went off topic there, but yeah,
it happens.
I feel like dealing with sickness, I've never had to deal with anything as serious as a tumor or anything, but dealing with that, video games can really kind of help you to kind of take your mind off of that. Like I had bronchitis when I was in I think seventh grade, and I had Kirby Air Ride given to me as a gift, and I played that a lot, and it really helped to take my mind off things. And that game held a very, very special place in my heart now. So,
Yeah, yeah. I
have
can't.
you ever had any games like that where
Um,
they've just kind of helped you through a really difficult like time, like health wise, or
I haven't really had any health issues. Well, told like recently. I mean, I'm getting an ultrasound to make sure everything's all right. So that's. I would hope nothing's wrong. So,
yeah, yeah,
which it's you feel any pain anywhere, you kind of freak out. I fear the worst always. So
mm,
it's I can. You would hope it's nothing serious. So.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, video games can definitely kind of help you to take your mind off things, especially during tough times.
Although
Um,
sometimes it's just so tough of a time that nothing really helps for me, but
mhm,
it can help to an extent. I mean, it
yeah.
just ambient background noise. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
you don't want to try and relieve stress by playing like XCOM or Dark Souls or something. That's not going to work too well for relieving stress. But
I'd rather be stressed about that than other
that's
things.
true. That's true. So our next topic, Capcom recently sent out a cease and desist to some independent developers working on a remake, an HD remake of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
Turns out Capcom actually had their own version of that in development, and they actually took that team on board. So I think that's very interesting. I think that's a really good way of approaching that. It kind of shows they were actually very inspired by their work they had done. They were very impressed. Kind of makes what they had posted already kind of makes that a resume in and of itself. And it'd be interesting to see some other developers and publishers taking that kind of approach, like, oh hey, these people are making something that could be that we're going to have to send a cease and desist out to, but we're really impressed with the work they've done. Maybe we can reach out to them and see if they'd be interested in helping us with our product that we are working on, our official product. So, offering this group of fans, obviously very dedicated people, um, the opportunity to actually work on a proper, like, official Resident Evil 2 remake. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that I think should be you like that. That shows that the company isn't just, oh, we're just gonna shut you down and just.
Yeah. I mean, even then, when they send out a cease and desist, it means that they saw your project as competition, as like legitimate competition to a project that they
because
were working on. Which that in and of itself should say that what you're working on is pretty impressive.
Well, even small ones get shut down. It's just any threat. Nintendo will shut anything down. It's just how trademark works, unfortunately.
Yeah. I feel like, we were, before the show, we were saying that the trademark system is out of date. It's a pretty widely accepted fact, and we kind of need I feel like the United States really needs to work on kind of revamping that for the digital era.
We'll get that about 2 centuries from now, you know?
Yeah, it only took us, 2 centuries to recognize that all Americans are equal, regardless of sexual orientation, so.
Yeah, but this also shows that Capcom is starting to listen to some fans.
Wait. Capcom, they listened to something?
Well, not as well.
I think we may be in an alternate dimension, Dan. Something's not right.
No, I mean they're starting to do like a Mega Man collection now.
They are doing that, yeah.
And this Resident Evil, new Mega Man people have wanted a Resident Evil 2 remake. Mm-hmm. So there's it's also just them starting to pick back up because they had fallen so far.
Well, they either fired all of their developers or all their developers left. But dude, they got a new Monster Hunter in development. Can you believe that?
Haven't they? Aren't they always making those?
But no, I feel like this is a great move on Capcom's part. Really kind of showing that they were actually impressed by what this team was doing, and they recognized that and actually, took advantage of that. So I think that's awesome.
I'm gonna start a Mega Man fan game, and then let's see if they bring me on board for their whatever they were gonna do.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I feel like because that reminds me of Skyrim mod. There was this guy I think he was in high school at the time, and he was going into college. He started working on this Skyrim mod, and he was working on it for a long time. I don't know how many years, but it was several years.
3,000 years.
It was several years in development, and it was like a full, completely original new area of the game, like an island that you'd go to. Had 18 quests, a bunch of side quests, and entirely original voice acting.
Whoa!
It was pretty awesome.
Was it good voice acting?
I heard some of it. It was actually pretty good because he had a recording studio.
Can't be much worse than the game.
Can't be much worse than our podcast, but no, it was really cool because
not good enough.
What he did was he submitted that mod to Bethesda as a portfolio, basically as his resume for a job application. They turned him down, but he did end up getting hired at Bungie, and he was actually one of the world designers on Destiny.
There you go.
Right out of high school.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I wish that happened to me, but I didn't do anything, so nothing happens.
Nothing happens if you don't do anything.
Well,
and you were telling me that I think you said Major Nelson was saying something about.
No, I think it was Phil Spencer.
Or Phil Spencer, yeah.
Said
saying something about. Yeah, go ahead.
Someone on Twitter asked a question about original. I can't say Xbox One. The original Xbox Xbox One having original Xbox backwards compatibility, and because they both have x86 architecture, so Phil Spencer says something about once they could very well be doing that after they're done, but right now their focus is on 360 backwards compatibility. But I'm not exactly sure how that kind of emulation would
I'm not sure
work.
how they're actually. Yeah, I'm not sure how they're handling the Xbox 360 emulation because it seems like something that'd be really difficult to accomplish, and they somehow managed to pull off and maintain all of the Xbox.
Well, I wonder if the original, if it's that easy to just, since they're both x86, I wonder if it's gonna be that difficult to.
Thing is, they also
emulate.
one of the things with 360 backwards compatibility is they wanted to retain all of the game DVR stuff. So like streaming, recording video, taking screenshots and whatnot. They want that all you can do all of that with Xbox 360 backwards compatibility and Xbox One, which I think is cool. But I feel like that's just a lot of hurdles to kind of set up for yourself.
So,
because that's kind of an interesting thing. Because a lot of systems in the past, like the Wii U and PlayStation 3, when you play games through backwards compatibility, you lose a lot of the system functions. Like I know on the Wii U, you lose all online functionality when you play a Wii game.
Which doesn't matter right now. It doesn't matter anymore, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
But like your friends won't see you as online playing Mad World or something.
I wish they could figure that out, but they're not. It is what it is now.
The problem is it actually boots up a completely different operating system. It actually boots out of the Wii U operating system to do Wii mode, but that's a whole complex mess.
Yeah, we'll see what the NX does, or what the hell.
I'm really excited to see what NX actually is.
I think it's some hybrid console thing. I don't know. Because I heard Square Enix actually had some games already announced for the NX or something.
For the NX, oh wow, that'd be interesting to see them kind of come on early as like a really big supporter. Could end up seeing kind of like a Super Nintendo-like situation there.
Just Cause 3 on there.
Yes, because I know Square Enix was like almost exclusive to Super NES.
Final Fantasy on there. That would be huge.
That would be huge,
because they haven't come back. It's been since Super Nintendo since they've really had a true Final Fantasy game on there that wasn't Crystal Chronicles spin-off stuff. So that I don't play the games.
Well, they had a remake of 3, I guess.
Yeah, they had that. I mean, like
3D,
which is on Steam too.
Oh, it is on Steam. I mean, stereoscopic 3D.
Wasn't that on DS though?
I think it was. It was a port. Here's the thing about that 3DS version. It was
there's a 3DS version of that?
There's a 3DS version, yeah. I think it was available at launch, and it was a port of the DS version, which was a port of the Android version, I think. Or maybe it was a port of the Android version, which was a port of the DS version. It is a mess.
Final Fantasy 3?
It actually worked fine. I think so.
3 came out on DS. The remake came out on DS first.
Yeah, and I think it was ported to Android, and then that version of the game was ported to 3DS.
I don't remember the 3DS getting Final Fantasy 3.
I thought it did. Maybe it didn't.
I'll look it up.
All right. Yeah, I could have sworn it was like a launch title or something on the.
No, it's not.
What am I thinking of then? Something recently.
I don't know, but we need to part ways because this is unacceptable. Giving misinformation to our fans.
I'm just trying to misguide everyone.
That's all you live to do, Jeff.
Well, one thing you wanted to be a major discussion topic today was story in games, and how important is it, how necessary is it, and what is the most important thing in games as far as design goes. What's your stance on this?
Because story in games. Because I know some people who think story is like the most important aspect of games, or the premise is the most important. But like, shouldn't the gameplay be the most important thing of a game because it's a game?
Mm. Well,
I know it can't. I think it's a secondary thing. It depends what kind of game, but I still think gameplay above all. unless it's like Phoenix Wright or something. Like those
Even
kind
then,
of
there's
games.
still some gameplay there.
Yeah, but with that, I think I'd rather just have a better story because that's what holds me into those. I mean, I know RPGs really have neat story to that enhances the gameplay.
Yeah.
But
Well, the way I feel is, gameplay is very important for a game because it's what you do in a game. That
yeah,
if you're just
it's what
watching
makes it a
cutscenes,
game.
if there's no gameplay, then you're watching a movie. Like
Yeah, it's like
even
go watch a movie.
Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain, those still have gameplay in them.
Yeah.
But I feel like story, it's not a vital part of a game. It's not required necessarily for a game to be good.
I look at old arcade games
Looking
that
at
very
yeah,
bare bones
I mean
story.
like Pac-Man has to eat the ghosts. That's the
Donkey
story, and then
Kong,
even those games have some story, but like a game
Popeye.
with no story at all whatsoever, like Pong or Breakout, stuff like that.
It's a horrible
Those are
game.
still
There's
very
no
games.
story.
But the way I see it is, what if I feel like for a modern game to be truly successful, to be like an exponentially, incredible game, I feel like the story should be integrated with the game design
Yeah.
or with the gameplay. Like, there should be stuff in the gameplay that affects the story, and the story stuff affects the gameplay and whatnot. They should work together. I feel like, you shouldn't be story focused or gameplay focused. You should be, game focused. You should have all of your elements kind of meshed together to create this overall experience.
Well, I think it depends what kind of game you're going for.
That's true. That's true.
But like a platformer gameplay,
Yeah.
like story.
Even then, you can still have your story.
Although I wish
have a powerful
Nintendo
story.
would do something with Mario for once, because I'm tired of the same premise every
Well, the thing
freaking
is,
time.
like, you can have, even as a platformer, you can have, stuff happen in your story that kind of ties into your gameplay, and you can have some story stuff that ties into new abilities that you get. I know there's a lot of platformers that have done that in the past, and I just can't. I think like Bayonetta, if you want to call it a platformer, it is sometimes. I guess it's more of a beat 'em up though. But even then, that's a very gameplay heavy game, but it still has story, and that story kind of ties into gameplay events as you play. So that and
Just think
music.
if Mario had a decent story, it could be even better.
Hey, Super Mario Sunshine.
That's why I like Sunshine. I thought it branched out a little bit, but some
Yeah.
people just scoff at it. But
I mean,
I thought it was the best.
the thing with Sunshine is it was the one Mario game that opened up with a unskippable 15-minute cutscene. So
I like the cutscenes though.
I like
Even though I had to sit through them like every time I booted up the game because I didn't have a memory card. It was annoying.
Yeah,
I couldn't skip them, but I did like the cinematics. As cheesy as they were or whatever, I liked them. It was a new change of pace.
There's a lot of voice acting in that one.
Yeah, and
too.
it wasn't necessarily
Bowser actually
bad.
talked in that one.
Yeah, Bowser Jr. It was
Bowser Jr. talked, even but hearing Bowser talk, that was mind blowing for me.
yeah, and kind of it was the plot twist that Bowser Jr. was Shadow Mario. Spoiler.
Spoiler alert! If you haven't played it, but now it's your fault.
Like, I wish they would try more with the story for once. I know it's not important to Mario.
Well, you can make your own damn story with Mario Maker. Have fun.
I don't think so. But I just wish it would. They would try something like that again.
Mm-hmm.
But
I feel like, with my game Business Call, I feel like story wasn't necessarily something I was thinking about, but there is a little bit of an implicit narrative there. The player can kind of come up with their own story, sort of. The story I provide to the player in that game is you're on a plane, you've got to finish the business call or else the deal's going to fall through. and you can't get spotted, and you can't crash the plane or whatever.
Is that a Pluggy McPluggerson?
It's a super plug, yeah. So, anyways, I'm plugging my product shamelessly, but I feel like, players can kind of, say, okay, so what is this call about? And then they can kind of come up with that for themselves. And that's kind of something that XCOM does as well, where you get these bare bones story elements, but it's kind of up to you to kind of determine on your own what these, what the, specifics of that are. Like, you can play through a mission and just like write down everything that happens during a mission, like just like the data from what happens. And, you can actually like write a story based off of that. Like use that as a bare bones skeletal structure for your story, and just like you can write fan fiction for XCOM based directly off of XCOM missions. So,
yeah. What was I going to say?
I feel like having, and that's called implicit narrative, where you kind of leave the story up to the player. Yeah. And I love games that are like that because they just allow you to use your imagination so much.
That's why I like a lot of 90s games, because there was a lot of that kind of storytelling.
Yeah.
Because you left up to the imagination. It was a lot of narration, like Diablo did it, Warcraft did it.
Well, Diablo had a lot of like specific story narration, didn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, it's still... It wasn't all cinematics doing it for you, or even very good in-game look stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the ending of Diablo, you have the narrator just narrating what happens, and you can visualize it, and it's just...
I see what you mean.
Like, Warcraft does it, and there is cinematics in Warcraft, too, but it's still... narration and Descent even. You still have to kind of imagine.
I just want to say I love the writing for the ending of Descent. It's almost like the way it's written is almost poetic. It could either be like something from a really good novel or something from like a metal album. You just don't
Descent metal.
It is like I think the ending cutscene Descent is like the planet rode in its final, or the planet shook in its final rose of death as the metallic nightmare below me collapsed in upon itself. It sounds like it could be like from a metal album. It's so awesome.
Yeah, Doom does it.
And going back to XCOM, the whole providing these kind of skeletal like bare bones story structure things. That's something that XCOM 2 is really kind of emphasizing. Because they have these small little details and levels, like you have these wanted posters that feature They feature like images of some of your soldiers, which I think is really cool. So that kind of like helps you to kind of visualize this backstory for that soldier, and then like when you're in your base, you can you assign scientist, like individual scientists with names and backstories to all the different facilities in your base, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's fun stuff.
That further kind of helps you to kind of emphasize, the value of all of your base personnel, and really helps you to kind of develop these backstories. I remember I had a character in my XCOM Enemy Unknown playthrough. His name was Omar Catastrophe, and he was my first colonel. And Colonel Catastrophe was what he showed up as.
Then you have games like Metal Gear Solid.
The thing is, I remember this character's death so vividly because I was so crushed, because it's got permadeath and everything. I was so crushed by this character dying. I vividly remember this character's death. I felt so attached to this, just this pawn in a board game, basically. But the fact that I named him, I customized him, and then I kind of had him go through all these missions, and I kind of recognized, oh, wow, this character is awesome. And then he died, and he was gone forever.
Too bad.
That's really just an awesome moment looking back at game design.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Like you were saying, we have the opposite end of the spectrum with Metal Gear Solid, where it's very heavily story-driven.
Yeah, it's still... I mean, it forces you to sit through... Well, it doesn't force you to sit through cutscenes, but if you want to enjoy the game, it's very cinematic story driven.
I feel like Metal Gear Solid is actually a really good, because XCOM I feel is a really good example of a bare bones story game that manages to really deal with story really well, and then I feel like Metal Gear Solid is a very heavy story driven game that manages to deal with story well, because the way Metal Gear Solid handles it is they have, all those cinematic cutscenes, some of them sometimes being up to like 90 minutes long, but they're really good cutscenes. They're cinematography. They have really
it's like a movie.
Soundtracked by Harry Gregson freaking Williams, so you're in a good place there. But when you play a Metal Gear Solid game, you have your core gameplay has so many different elements to it. Where
that
you have a lot of freedom.
That game goes all over the place.
Yeah, you have a lot of different options on how you want to approach a situation. It's really good as a stealth game, which is it's a stealth game. Obviously, but it excels at the genre as far as gameplay goes.
Genre.
But I feel like Metal Gear Solid, even though it has all those cutscenes and very heavy story, I feel like it still manages to have very good gameplay. And the story kind of provides that context that's necessary. And it's like you're watching a good movie while also playing a stealth game through that movie with a lot of really in-depth mechanics. And I adore that so much. So
I know you do, Jeff. You and your Metal Gear. Metal Gear.
I'm very, very excited for Metal Gear Solid 5 coming out September 1st, I believe. Oh, that's holy cow!
You want to give me some money?
That's coming up actually pretty soon.
That's like less than 2 weeks.
Don't tell anyone I said this, but if you go buy a GTX 970 from your local store, and then register that code, you can return the card, and you just scored yourself some free Metal Gear. But you didn't hear it from me or this podcast. You might actually have to edit that out. I don't want to get in trouble.
Nah, you're getting in trouble, Jeff.
Oh no! Well,
cops are coming. Kojima's coming for you.
The Kojima police force.
Actually, I don't know if Kojima cares anymore. I think Konami would come after you.
Then we got fast travel, something you wanted to talk about as well, and whether it's a good idea or a bad idea in games.
What I think there's a few ways you could do fast travel. That I'm for fast travel to an extent. I'm not big on. I like how Twilight Princess does it, where it's limited, but it's like certain areas of the game world. So it's not like you can't just fast travel to any town you want. Because I think that takes away some exploration. I mean, you have to explore first in like Skyrim or whatever. You still have to explore. But, I mean, part of the fun of a game is traveling, I think. And, I mean, you could just ignore the fast travel, but it's very difficult to have the willpower to do that. But I like the way Twilight Princess does it, because it's just certain areas, or Wind Waker does it too. It's just certain parts of the map. And it drops you off there, and you just have to travel a little ways to go.
Yeah.
But
I've always felt like that system was. I felt like that system was always a little clunky, to be honest. I never really was too big of a fan of Wind Waker's fast travel system, though I did like how it kind of meshed in with the context of the story and stuff. I felt like that was really nice. But that said, it has been a while since I last played it, so I don't know if what I'm saying is actually 100% accurate or not. But
I just don't like when traveling, I think, is a huge part of those games. So,
like Grand Theft Auto 5, for example, you have to do a lot of manual traveling throughout that game world.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's just so much stuff to do in that game world. So much to see, so much to do, so much to see, so much to do, so much to wait.
Yeah,
I got stuck in a loop. Anyways, I feel like there's so many things that you can. There's so much stuff that you can, do on your way to area in the world. And the driving is fun. It feels like racing game controls. There's no, readily available fast travel option in the game. You have to do all the traveling manually, which seems archaic.
But you have like taxis, right?
The what?
You have taxis, right?
That's true. Actually, that's right. You have taxis, and you can.
See, I like that kind of way because then
you pay. You can actually sit and let the taxi driver take you to where you need to go,
or you could pay more money to
pay extra to skip to the.
See, I like that kind of creative fast traveling because I don't like how Skyrim does it. You just open the map and you're boom there. It's like that's not. That's how
I've been playing. Like I said earlier, I've been playing Fallout New Vegas recently, and that's how it handles it as well because same developer.
Yeah, I mean all the Bethesda
games. The game from the same developer.
I'm just not a huge fan of it.
I like it in New Vegas because in New Vegas, Fallout 3, by comparison, they both have a lot of kind of bleak, flat, kind of destroyed landscapes that you walk across, and there's a lot of nothingness, which is to be expected. It's Fallout, it's post-nuclear apocalypse RPG, so that's kind of to be expected. But having that fast travel system really does kind of.
I've played Fallout 3. I never once thought I never really got bored with the landscape. I don't know. There's always something that was going on.
Yeah.
For me,
and I guess there are also. There's also the random events that can happen.
And I kind of like that you can. Because you're exploring everything, and anything can happen to you while you're traveling. So
oh yeah,
fast travel, you just skip all that, and it's like that's not. I don't. You can. I just like if you do it in a creative way, like how Grand Theft Auto does it. I mean, Skyrim has the buggies, right? The horse and.
Oh, it does have those, yeah.
But
since they do have those. That's right. Why? It's confusing. Why they would need a fast travel system if they already have the horse and buggy system? Why would you? Pay
I think
money?
That might be if you haven't even explored an area yet.
That's true.
It
That's
takes
true.
it to a.
Take you there.
No, it didn't take you anywhere. I don't think.
Oh, I thought it did.
It's
been a long time since I played Skyrim.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. So I feel like fast travel. It can be beneficial, especially for games in an open world where the open world's kind of bleak. But if a player's getting bored walking through an open world, then you might want to focus some more effort on your open world design. But
but I mean, that's a problem with the game. Like Twilight Princess had that problem. They didn't do much with the open world. I'm hoping the new one It looks like they are.
Yeah,
because that one's going to be true open world apparently, and they've added more kind of gameplay elements that come up along the way, and that's why the game keeps getting delayed. Which
hopefully they don't end up with the Duke Nukem Forever type situation where they're like, oh, got to do this and this and this and this, and hey, we're not coming out until 2040.
It's Zorlda, so well, it's not Zorlda, but. It's they've always delayed Zelda, but except for Majora's Mask, they got that cranked out in a year somehow. I mean, the base game the engine was already built. They just used Ocarina, but they still created a completely unique experience, completely unique to Ocarina.
Like Zelda New Vegas, right?
I don't think so. I haven't played New Vegas, but I don't think so. Just by looking. Majora's Mask, just completely unique. Within the year they did it, it's just one of the greatest games. It's just amazing. So, but fast travel, I mean, I prefer creative ways to doing that. I don't like just, oh, bam, you're there. And another thing I want to talk about is saving in games. I'm not a big fan of games that just let you save whenever, which another thing Bethesda games do.
I actually do prefer that because sometimes I have to go somewhere in a hurry. And I'm like, oh, I can't make it to the next checkpoint. I just have to save right now and just come back later. And it's really convenient when I just am able to come back to that exact point.
But then I gotta pause the game, save it every freaking 5 seconds, and it's just...
Well, that's not necessarily the case, but it does allow for saves coming.
It just... I feel like you cheat in the game to an extent.
Mm-hmm. And that's something I love about XCOM, with its whole permadeath Iron Man mode thing, where it's always auto-saving all the time. Yeah. And right. if you aren't allowed to save a separate save file, you can't save manually. It's always auto-saving, so your mistakes are permanent. You have one save file, make it count. No saves coming for you.
That's how it. Yeah, we're all guilty. We're all guilty of it, but.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I want to be forced not to do that.
XCOM has really helped me actually with accepting my mistakes.
You can be like, oh, you just get some self control, but it's like it's not that easy. And if it's there, I'm going to use it as much as I don't want to. But it's sometimes forcing is okay with stuff like that, but checkpoints.
I feel like for a lot of games, like especially like action platform or like adventure games and stuff like that, being able to save whenever, I feel is really a really good design decision. Kind of like the way Bethesda does it with their games. I really like that with like adventure games.
Well, not for like platformers at all. Like that has checkpoints.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the checkpoint system actually does work pretty good for platformers. For something like Assassin's Creed, I feel like that would work better.
Well, Assassin's Creed does it. It saves after you're finished. You can't save on a quest.
That's true. It saves at the end of each.
I like how Assassin's Creed does it, though. You can't just. But the quests aren't that terribly long. Mm-hmm. But I like how Assassin's Creed does it because it'll save every time you finish a quest, or to autosave when you're just in the open world. But I like that. But Bethesda games, I don't know how else you could do that. Because those games are so open that there's not really not much like linear structure to it.
Yeah.
Like Assassin's Creed or Dead Space.
I mean, it's really one game I'm not a big fan of the saving system in is Alien Isolation. So you can save at any time, but saving overwrites your one save file. Apart from your start of mission saving your autosave, you also have your own save. And so saving will rewrite that, but you can only save at certain areas in the open world. Well, not really open world, but it's more of a Metroidvania type world. So you only save in certain areas, and the problem is if you save somewhere and the alien is like right behind you, and enemy's right behind you, and they kill you immediately after you finish saving, you're kind of out of luck.
Yeah, that could be broken.
I've never had any issues with it, but it is somewhat inconvenient to, be playing through this part of the game, then, the alien kills you, and then, and it seems to have been based entirely on, am I going to rip open this locker or not? And, on the alien's end, it just seems to be like a dice, I flipped a coin, am I going to kill the player right now, or am I just going to walk past and be scary? And so it kills me, and then I go back, I lose 10 minutes of gameplay or something. It's really irritating. But I feel like that's a save system that doesn't work very well. It's integrated into the story and environment and everything, but I feel like it just does not work.
Doesn't Dead Space, is that like checkpoints, or was it? It had save points. It
had save points, that's right, yeah.
I like that kind of
I thought system. It worked well there. Because at least in Dead Space, you always it was in third person, so you could very easily look behind you. Alien Isolation's in first person, and you have to turn around, and if doing that could trigger something, and oh my gosh, that game is really stressful as well. So,
well, with Dead Space, they had check or save points, so it was always in a safe area, I think.
I think that's right. Yeah, that's not the case at the save points in Alien Isolation.
Yeah, they need to fix.
Might be the problem.
That's a problem.
Because it's a thing where like that's so integrated into the design of the game's world, where it's something that I don't feel like they can fix with like a patch or something.
Certain games you can save. Like I'm looking at Ocarina of Time here. You can save at any time technically, but it doesn't save your spot. It will put you back to like either your house or like the last. I think it usually drops you off at your house or like Hyrule Castle or something like that, or the market. So it wouldn't if you save and quit, you'd have, or at the end, it would put you back at the start of the dungeon. That's what it would do. A lot of Zelda games, it put you back at the start of the dungeon.
I remember that, yeah.
I like that, so it's not like you can't just save and save scum bullshit.
There's not really much. I feel like there's not really much of a useful application for save scumming in Zelda.
Yeah, but
because there's not much random chance there.
Oh yeah. But Doom lets you save scum, which was like, I think that was like one of the first. It might have been the first game that like had that because he wanted. It was a decision because he didn't want people to have to start over every time because the levels were long, and that wasn't really a good way to do it. Other than that,
yeah.
So you definitely could save scum on that, which. I'm going to give it a pass, since it was, like, the first. I don't know if it's the first to do it. It was one of the first. But, there's just, Bethesda games, I'm not sure how else you could do saving, really.
Yeah, I feel like the whole, the way they're doing it, I feel like it works well for me. It's something I expect in their games. I don't know that Fallout 4 is going to do it, though. To be honest, it probably will. But I fully anticipate Fallout 4 to not be in any functioning order when it comes out, in traditional Bethesda fashion, and
tradition.
Also in traditional Bethesda fashion, I expect it to, despite being in a barely functional state, win every single Game of the Year award. So.
Oh, they've already got that wrapped up.
Oh, yeah. They got the award just sitting in their office. It's just the Fallout 4 Game of the Year award. It's been given to them early since everyone knows they're already going to get it.
Yeah, I don't see how they're not. I have high expectations, and I expect them to be met.
I feel kind of sorry for all these other games that are coming out in November.
All those other games, the smaller developers too, that just get shafted.
I like to think of it like it's like releasing Star Wars Episode 7 comes out in on Christmas Day, I think is what they're saying, or maybe it's Christmas Eve, I don't know. It says this Christmas. So I really feel sorry for all these movies that are planning to also release this Christmas, because I've seen there's a lot of them, surprisingly. And if you look at when Episode 1 was coming out, that was also around the same time that the sequel to Austin Powers was coming out. And in the trailer for Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, it opens up with this kind of Star Wars like Death Star Emperor's seat, and the camera's like slowly zooming in, and then Dr. Evil spins around the chair and he's like looking for someone else, and the trailer announcer, like the person with the deep voice, says, if you're going to see one movie this summer, see Star Wars. But if you're going to see two movies this summer, see Austin Powers.
Wow. Wait, is that the same, like, is that with Fox? Are they both under Fox?
I think I know the first
20th Century Fox or whatever they're called.
I know 20th Century Fox did produce the first 3 Star Wars movies. I think
they did them all.
Did they?
They're not doing it. Yes.
Okay.
They all open with the.
Yeah.
They're not. The episode 7 won't.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
Did episode was Austin Powers Fox? I don't think it was. No, it wasn't. At the time it wasn't. It was who is it? Starts with the T. They did Blade. They did a lot of good movies. Zoolander. Oh, who is it? I'm guessing you're looking it up. I heard your keyboard.
No, it was something else.
Well, it was that. The thing is that production studio got purchased by Fox, and then Fox did Goldmember, which was an absolutely horrid movie. But we're not here to talk about movies. We're here to talk about video games.
We can branch off every once in a while. Because it's always not all... It depends what we're talking about. I mean...
Well, I think that just about wraps up our show for tonight. We're going to fast travel out of whatever you're playing.
Make sure to save first.
Yes, do save first, and just in case the game crashes while you're fast traveling. Also, be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitch. We will be streaming some stuff there soon, I hope. So
I want to see if we can get another form of streaming our podcast, because YouTube is not a very good place to put.
Yeah, we're not getting a lot of good exposure here.
Because when you go onto like a podcast app and you look at podcasts, we are not in there because it's all stuff that's in archive. You can archive your stuff and tag it, and we don't just have an audio only stream, and that's what people really listen to. I mean, videos are not very friendly for your data.
Absolutely, yeah. And I feel like, I used to drive back and forth between, I used to do like a 40-minute commute pretty frequently, and, I'd listen to podcasts then, and, being able to just download the audio for that video, or for that podcast, rather, and listen to that on the way while I'm driving, that is what I really want to do. And, our video is never really anything too complex. We just have an image, but that still, takes up the same amount of...
It's taking more space up.
Mm-hmm.
And YouTube is terrible with streaming.
Yeah.
You gotta keep your phone, you can't turn off your screen to listen on most videos, so that's a problem. Because you gotta keep, if you want to listen to something on YouTube, you gotta keep your phone on and put it in your pocket, and then if you accidentally touch something, you screw everything up, and it's inconvenient.
Well, if any of you, if any of our listeners have any suggestions for possible alternatives, definitely let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your suggestions. We are... I think that just about wraps up our show for tonight. Thanks for listening, everyone. Gonna fast travel out of here. See ya.
So long, everybody.